All right, let's go over this HJH cabinet. So, got one of these ones where you're just going to build an inner frame, and then off of that, you're going to Lords and build a middle layer that is the actual structure, and then you're just going to Lords on top and bottom the retainers, basically the parts that make the retainers. So it's one of those work from the inside out cabinets. We'll go over the files here. So we got switch box, got your outer frame. Keep an eye out for this little cut angle. That'll help you use it as like a little scribe to cut the track because it's coming up. Middle box, got your little seam pieces there. That's split. I'll show you that. Got your inner box that you'll start with. Got these guys here, these little rail jigs. We'll go over that. Got your white on white for LEDs, and got your white faces. So yeah, so this is the main structure. You'll have the inner box, the outer kind of middle part, and then the outer skins, and then you'll have these tracks. I ordered these from Montroy. They should have been there. So you're going to need this to make this box, though. So you start with the inner box, get this all welded up nice. You got these little ears sticking out. I made this box symmetrical. There is no right and left, so I made the seam holes on both sides. So depending on which way you put it in, it should fit either way. So it doesn't really matter, just as long as you got top to top and bottom to bottom. I went ahead and made the power supply. I made the ability to put them anywhere in here. So you might only need one, depending on how many you put in here. You might need two, who knows? So you got plenty of places, but basically I just put them in here and just kind of down and dirty. And then you're just going to get that welded up, and then you're going to go ahead and Lords on your parts here, and then weld up the middle box part. And I would maybe put a little bit of Lords here too. That will attach this side piece to this piece, kind of give it some structure. You might want to put the power switch in first before you do that. Who knows? So the switch box is just basically our normal little switch box, except I added this little beak, this little snout right here. And you're just going to use the same rivet holes, but make sure this is on first, and then just rivet all of this together as one. And then that gives you the ability to mount that to that slope. So you can either choose the Lord's add-on, or if you want to maybe shoot some tacks, whatever's quickest. And then you're just going to let your wires run, keep them off the bottom, and just run them through the hole. And then you can work on, like, you can maybe put it, if there's a single power supply, you can put it there, or you can run it over. And anyway, there is no power pole on the bottom of this because this is going on to an existing structure. I don't know where install is going to want to run their power up, so they can drill a hole somewhere in there. The whole inner frame and the middle box is symmetrical, so there's provisions for either side. And then just the outer two panels, either one has a switch hole and the one doesn't. So that's kind of how you choose. So this thing is truly kind of, you can play it either way. So that's all pretty straightforward. And then the only thing that's different is these 1/4 inch jigs, because we have to use off the shelf track. So this is the 1910 sign comp stuff. So that's a side profile of it. So the whole frame is 1.5 inches, and this is 1.5 inches here. And then this is just bigger. So, and then you have this spar sticking out for support. So what you're going to do is weld in these 1/4 inch pieces here, and you have two down at the bottom on both sides that you'll put in there. I got the bigger 3/16 rivet clecos, and you're going to put those in there like that, and both sides, put them over there. And then what that does is that gives a spot for the track to lay on. There's also 4 fingers that stick out off of the inner frame. So the inner frame box has these. These are the ones that look like car emblems. So you're going to go ahead and put those across, and you can tack those on there. Make sure they're on there pretty good, because they're going to support the weight of the faces up top. Maybe if you have some 3/16 rivets. And what that's going to look like is, once that's on there, then this track piece is just going to sit on that. And then you're going to go ahead and burn that to that. So I made a little chamfer there, so that way it kind of misses that radius. And then, so that's going to support all the way along. It's going to support that rail. And then when it gets to the side here, it's going to sit on these fingers that are sticking out. So get this rail in first, get it in nice, maybe just tack it in, because then you're going to custom fit this vertical piece to fit in there and kind of meet up and stuff. So I don't know if it's helpful to keep this loose or if it's helpful to get that nailed down and then work with this piece. So it's kind of, I haven't made one like this before. So what you're going to do is you're going to be doing some jigsawing and custom kind of fitting. So the way you're going to cut these is going to be something kind of like this, where the front face, you want that to match up nice. So you're going to make a nice straight cut and take your time to cut that so it fits up to the frame piece and it looks real sexy. Same thing down here. You want that front 1.5 inch piece to cut to sit nice. After that, it's just it's just a bandsaw party. So you can just notch it so that way it goes over this part, and then but you want to leave the finger on the back to go all the way so you can weld it to something in the back. Now, this doesn't show where these two fingers will be sticking up. So this gives you something to weld that to. So the two fingers will be sticking up here, and that gives you something to nestle this into, and you can burn it to that, and you can even burn it to there. And then once you get up here, you want to make sure this kind of fits in nice, because you're going to want to burn that to that real good as well. So like right there. So you're going to want to get in there and burn that. So that's the idea of, you're going to cut this thing long. You're not going to cut this the length that it needs to fit in there. You need to cut it first to the longest length to allow it to go up into here. Then you custom cut and custom fit the face to it. So you can see here plus or minus, because it depends on what the real world dimensions are, but you're just over 23 3/4 for overall to go from here to the inside of that track, you know, up here. And then you sit there and get your bandsaw, and then you cut this up, and then once you get this measurement, you need to just get down and dirty and clean that up. So cut the longest first, and then get custom and make it fit. So same thing here. So in order for it to fit inside here, all the way up to there, and then for it to go all the way up into the here, it's going to be much longer than just fitting inside the two retainers. So your plus or minus overall is almost 115. So again, you're going to kind of want to cut it to close to that and then work backwards and figure out how much you need to kind of custom notch all this to get, you know, the front face, the 1.5 inch front face will be longer than the back piece. So again, don't just cut this piece to that. Now you can, if you have to, you can cut that, because these fingers will stick out so far that this should have a nice ledge to sit on. So if you have to, you can just cut it flush or whatever. But it's best to kind of do it that way. And again, this little cut jig here, this gives you, this is 1.5 inches, and this will fit right on the front face. So you can use this to dial in and figure out exactly how long, if you want to do a scribe, and that gives you something to make that nice and sexy, because you want this dimension here to fit up as close as you can so there's no light leaks to this retainer right here, to the outside retainer. And then everything in the back can just be kind of, you know, like I say, bandsawed to really just fit in there nice. And then the vertical, same thing. You want to cut it long so that way this tab piece will stick up in there, and then you just kind of nestle that in there in between these two pieces, and that gives you something to weld to. I'm not sure if this square edge will mess with this radius. You might need to sort of kind of adjust that a little bit. Maybe give these a little zing to get rid of the sharp edge, so it'll kind of tuck into this radius here. So anyway, that's the track. I ordered that up. It should have been there on Thursday through Montroy. If not, you're gonna have to figure out how to get some track there quick, because as usual, you know, emergency. So anyway, I think that's it. Should be fairly good to go. Oh, the bottom frame piece. So they just gave this kind of drawing of where they wanted this toe kick in order to mount to the block. So the reveal is here. So there's your dimensions. Chop it up, weld it up nice, and then get this thing to lords to the very bottom, kind of like that. Let's see. Yeah, so you're just going to get that to lords up to the bottom there. And then I have 3/8 holes here that go through that frame. Once this frame's lordsed on, then you can re-drill these holes through, and they can use that for mounting. Or if the install wants to do their own holes for mounting, it's kind of up to them. But once you get that bottom frame lordsed on, just go ahead and complete this box, and then maybe just flip it over on its head, and then you can just lords this bottom frame onto it. And then once that's done, then you can drill these holes through for install, and they can choose to use that, or they can, I don't know what else they have to mount to. So maybe just use super glue. So anyway, that's how that bottom frame is too. So get that going. There's your cut sheet, 1.5" square tube. So, but I think that's pretty much it. Both side panels are removable in order to get the faces in and out. And but otherwise, I think we're good to go. So good luck.